Welcome, Midlifers, to part 2 of our special guest episode with Wayne Lim and Tom Gerrard. If you missed part 1 from yesterday, check it out as it features our Besties segment, best art scenes in films and movies. But today, with part 2, we have then and now, the way we consume art and how it's changed thanks to the digital age. We also asked Tom and Wayne some general art questions that we've always wanted to know, and maybe you've always wanted to know, so let's find out about it together in part 2. Here we go.
Wax on, wax off.
Cigarettes.
Excellent.
And now we're going to talk about, in a then and now segment, how art is distributed over time or given out to audiences. Mm-hmm.
I guess lots of things have changed since the popularity and birth of the internet, and then social media, iPhones, all that sort of stuff, or smartphones. All this has just changed everything, and it's been like I remember when I first was getting into art, even in high school and stuff, it was a lot of just looking at books in the library, but then there was little black and white photos of paintings, and that's all you really got to see of them. But, I still feel that the best way to view art is to stand in front of it because, I've painted murals that are 7 stories tall on the side of a building, but then you look at it on a phone and it's just the size of a phone. You actually need someone like a car driving past or something to see the scale, say, oh, okay, now I see how big that is. Yeah. Because on your phone, everything's the same size. But today with the technology we have, that's why I say anyone can do it, because the things that we can do now and the gatekeepers have all dropped away. It's all, there still are gatekeepers to a certain level. But to be able to call yourself an artist and then build a career on your own, that's exactly what I did. Anyone can do it. I got a friend whose cousin is a fine artist and making an absolute killing over in Italy, and she's got severe Down syndrome. And but it's that authenticity of her love for painting and making all these paintings, and all anyone sees is the finished product. Yeah, and they go, "Wow, who made that?" And then they meet her. And they go, oh, wow. But she's probably making more money than I am. Yeah.
But it's the passion, isn't it? The passion, even when you write, when you do a piece of writing, you just know it's going to be good because you feel it in your bones. Oh, yeah. And it comes out and
It's like when you have a good podcast. If you guys ever had a great podcast episode and when you've edited a release, you're like, freaking hell, that's a top one.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it.
You haven't?
Not quite like that. The ones that I thought were not okay. The ones that I walked out of there feeling really good about it. I know that was good for me. That it might not resonate so well with other people because it's just not really the audience that I'm tapping into.
Yeah.
Where, for example, one of my favorite conversations I had was with Liam Sardea, and he's a philosopher of creativity. Oh, wow. So that was just interesting for me. But I think for a lot of people, they just don't. They're just not interested in that type of conversation.
Yeah. But do you think there are just different niches that suit different people? So someone who wants that will seek that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there'll be episodes that did really well that I didn't expect to do that well. Yeah. And so it's just not really probably not aligning with my audience. Maybe.
Yeah. I get feedback from people I find that if I'm interviewing someone who I really admire, I can be a bit nervous.
Yes, yeah.
But then there's interviews I've done where I felt like the connection hasn't been that great. But then the feedback I get from other people, I say, that was one of your best.
Oh, really?
Okay, well, I'm glad that you got a lot out of it, because maybe I'm thinking, was I nervous when I was asking the questions? But it's all about the guests and what they're coming out with. And they're the ones really, I'm driving it with the questions, but it's their answers that are the crux of the podcast.
Yeah, the pressure's on you guys then.
Yeah.
Wayne, I have a question to ask you.
Yes.
I was listening to one of your podcasts recently, and you're talking about VR and AR, and I didn't know what AR was.
Yeah.
Which is augmented reality. Yeah, you're talking about so you've got virtual reality, and I never heard of augmented reality, which is where I think the next step is the glasses, where it has overlays of things. So you could see, I think you mentioned one was a couch, and then if you wear it, you can have a different, that could be like a Louis Vuitton couch. And then I'm sure he mentioned that the next step after that would be chips.
It's different ways you can go. But anyway, sorry. My
question is, have you guys not watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day? And to be scared, I am scared, personally, of a bit of AI, how far it will go. But then in terms of art, I suppose everything's fluid, everything evolves. But how do you see AI changing.
This is actually
art.
a rabbit hole that I'm starting to really go down, and there's so many ways to tackle and approach that. There's no way for us to know how deep it's going to go.
Are you scared as an artist?
Well, no, because you can only just control what you can control. Right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, when it gets to whatever end point, good or bad, we're long gone.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Okay.
Whatever. Bad luck.
We're out of here.
Let the future deal with that.
Yeah.
So with how it's going to go, I was actually listening to a podcast just yesterday, and they were talking about music. Music is a really interesting space that's not getting enough attention. And I recorded one just last week with someone we were talking about that. But with visual art, there was actually, this can go back to one of the things we were talking about with TV shows and movies.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a painting, and from the painting, there's like, let's say a famous painting that you can go read about it on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Google has what they have is called the Google LM, which is a language model, the AI model. And then you can take the description from Wikipedia, plug it into Google, and then Google can come up with a musical piece that represents the visual piece. So now you have sound that is meant to sound like a visual piece.
Wow.
So there's all this crossover you can start getting. And I think that's one of the things with AI, and to one thing that Tom was saying earlier, that it's just human expression. And what it's able to do is to really distill these expressions. So now ultimately Tom is a visual artist. You ladies are podcasting, someone else could be music, and like say even performance. All these things are just expression, and there's so many different ways of crossing over. So in another world, whatever it is that Tom could be feeling or expressing, he might be doing that in music.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is just able to really just distill it all.
Yeah.
I don't know if like we should be scared, but we should just be careful with how it goes. But it's not going to stop.
Yeah, yeah. But I think like with all technology that's been introduced over time, people have been scared. Like TV, people are scared that it was going to take away family time, and this is another thing. Yes, we need to be mindful, but if it's in the right hands, you know, it's okay.
Well, something that actually happened in art history was because at first art was all about documentation, and you know, it was pre-cameras and everything. And then once the camera was invented, all these artists just quit, and they said, well, that's it. No need for art anymore. But then you look at in the future, and here we are now talking about art, and this is like a long time after that. Yeah. And I feel it's, you know, and that's where like it gave the birth to like impressionism and then abstract art and all that, because it was no longer just about like, oh, we've got no way of documenting what's going on here. And I feel that with with AI, I think it's going to bring out more of the human expression from us humans and say, look, no, this is a human-made thing. And it's no different from going, all right, what would you prefer to have, the Mona Lisa or a poster of the Mona Lisa? Because that's a machine reproduction of the Mona Lisa. And which one would you prefer to have? You know, and there's thousands of posters of Mona Lisa or millions of them all over the world.
Can I add to that?
Go for it.
This is so embarrassing. But we went to TK Maxx, and my husband desperately wanted this print, a framed print of The Scream by Edward Munch, but as a cat. And I had to buy it for his birthday, and we got to put it up in the house. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's also good.
That's cool.
No, because I'm going to have it in my house. But it's the mass production now, where you can buy art, and it what's a parody of art now? Like you can buy the like in Italy, in Venice, there are shops where they sell parodies of art as cats. So I saw the Mona Lisa as a cat.
But that's the thing, though. Your husband loves that, and that's good on him. He knows what he likes, and enjoy that. You know,
I'm not inviting anyone to my house.
He's probably got no desire to go to an auction house and bid on the original just because he's such an art fan. He's like, no, I like
this version.
Once again, that's what we keep talking about. It's like knowing your taste, knowing what you like, and being that. It's all about authenticity at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's something that's going to outshine AI in as far as human expression goes, in my view.
Yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball.
We have like it.
Yeah,
we don't know where it's going to go, but I think that the human component is only going to be amplified more.
Well, this is what my husband says as well, because my husband is very data and analytics brain, and he feels like he wants to be creative, but he can't because AI helps him tap into the side. So he sees something in his mind's eye, but he doesn't know how to put it down. And he's like, AI is helping him to do that. Yeah. It's like, it's no longer trapped in here anymore. Yeah.
But with art, I think it's important to be able to maintain that human connection. Right. So I think that's one thing that digital won't ever be able to replace. So it really just depends on what industry and what field you're in, though. Like, because design is very much just like problem, solution, right? So they have a thing that they need designed and then you give them a file. Whereas art, I think it's something that's just more intrinsic. There's value in it. There's like a person behind the work. And I think that connection, there needs to be more depth. And so going to actual exhibitions and to see the work, there's nothing that's going to take the place of that.
But what about NFTs? So Justin Bieber, Paris Hilton, Gwyneth Paltrow, Snoop Dogg all bought the Bored Ape series. And that's all online, and you can't really print that out. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
We were just talking about NFTs before we started rolling.
So what's NFT?
NFTs is non-fungible tokens. So it's digital artwork that is purchased. It only exists digitally, and they're purchased with Bitcoin. Yeah. So there's layers. I've had conversations. You would have had conversations about this as well, and Tom was heavily involved in it as well. He seems to be on the side. Well, Tom's on the side that they are going to come back up again. I'm not sure.
It's a theory. Like,
yeah.
But for instance, like I bought a lot of NFTs because I was making my own and selling them, and then reinvesting that money into purchasing more as well. Because at the time we didn't know what was really
it's like the Wild West.
The future was going to be. But I targeted artists who are already world famous artists, and they were all doing them. So it's like, Damien Hirst has got one, or Kenny Sharp, and all these like artists who I really admired were making them, and I was collected all them because I thought their paintings are worth an absolute fortune. Yeah. So but I've got like an NFT that only cost a few $100 or $1,000 or whatever. Yeah. And like because their art still holds value, I think. Whatever happened there in that crypto space, I don't know. It's but I'm not an expert on what actually happened behind the scenes, but it sort of got shut down overnight.
Okay.
I think it was a lot to do with governments not being able to receive tax and all that. So, and it was a global currency. It was hard to control. So I think somewhere they just like pulled the plug on it. And but it doesn't mean that they might not hold value right now, but going forward, who's to say in 20 years' time they're going to go, it's all fires back up, and then people are going to go, I've got these ones from that original time when they that first boom, and they might be worth even more. So who knows? Because they were worth something at one point. Yeah,
But also Anthony Hopkins launched and sold his own NFT called the Eternal Collection, featuring animated portraits of himself. But Mez, you might want to look at Bored Ape.
Yeah,
because that sold a lot.
Yeah, not now though. I think that they might come back as well. But I think there's a thing called provenance in art, and that means like who own that artwork. Like I'll talk about it in real like tangible art now. So to say like Andy Warhol, he had his factory, what he called it, which was his art studio, and he just churned artwork out like a factory. And so you might have lots of similar looking artworks, but say Snoop Dogg owns one of them. And then it goes to an auction house, and you've got these identical artworks, and they might go, all right, they're like $3 million each, but that one is worth $12 million because Snoop Dogg owned it. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so there's this thing that happens with art about ownership and who owned it and what that means. And so there's a lot of that stuff.
I had no idea about that, the layers.
Yeah. No one's when you sell a house, they say, whoever used to own this house, that sort of thing.
This is the house that Brad and Angelina used to live in or something like that. And it goes for more because of that.
I would never have thought about that in the art world.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about as well the evolution of
street art. We were part of it. I think our generation, we saw street art go from the grimy streets of, say, New York to now it's like Hosier Lane. It's somewhere where people go and watch it. And even Pam the Bird. It's like you look out for Pam the Bird around the city, but it's art, and how that has changed over time and how it's gone from something that is tags that are grimy to things that you look out for. So I like how that has changed over time. Can I say something as well with that? We went to a cafe and the waiter saw my daughter colouring in and he goes, stop. And he drew a picture of a bird on the back and signed it. And I don't know, I said to my friend, I go, does he do Pam the Bird as well? So what do I do with that?
Where, do you have a photo? Oh, we'll have to
I'll show you later. But he got her crayons and he drew it and he signed it. And I don't know, like I've kept it because I'm like, this might be worth something later.
Yeah, maybe in the future. But it's also up to him to build an art career. So he's built his name, right?
But he's house arrest.
Yeah, but still, he's. Like,
no, I'm saying it might not be him that it did.
No, but as far as but even like, Pam the Bird is very topical right now.
Yeah.
And he's put a lot of effort into going out and doing what he's done. But he's never made a cent off that.
Yeah.
He's actually paid money to do it, legal fees, buying or acquiring the paint, however, even just petrol for driving around to get to all the spots.
But he's gained notoriety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's only once he starts to capitalize on that, he will then officially start like building an art career, if you know what I mean.
So
At the moment, he's an artist, being an artist, but there's a big difference, you know what I mean? Because that's why I say anyone can be an artist, but not everyone can build an art career because it takes there's certain personality traits and things, I guess. If you're like an introvert and have a hard time sort of putting yourself out there, then it's going to be harder for you to do that, But back in the, pre-digital, going back to the conversation earlier, galleries used to just do everything for everyone. And now it's more of a self-driven machine. Yeah.
And if you want to put yourself out there.
Have you seen in Melbourne the chalk or the mural that was painted of the Roadrunner tunnel and someone nearly drove through it? It was in the city. They made a tunnel. They drew a tunnel on a wall and the Roadrunner's next to it, but it was a hazard for people to drive near.
Oh, wow.
Because it looked like an actual tunnel.
I love that sort of 3D stuff.
Yeah.
My mind can't comprehend it, until someone walks over it. Cool. We've got
that was
heaps.
like so dense.
I know.
It's good.
Yeah.
I know. Your podcasts are so lighthearted. And like, he's a hunk and all this sort of stuff.
We tried to have some lighthearted moments, but because that's something I'm very curious. As I said, I'm not into that world, so it's great, and I feel like maybe one day, but it's been
it's
fun.
just about being curious. If you just spend the time and just like, even like with people that I don't even necessarily agree with. I've had people on that I intentionally brought on because I didn't agree with an opinion they had.
That's good though to do because that opens your mind.
Exactly,
both your minds.
Exactly. So I think that's the thing, right? Like you just got to. Yeah, open your mind.
There's nothing wrong with educating our listeners, Miz.
No, and I think a lot of them.
Education is good.
Yeah, no, and I'm asking the questions where I think a lot of other people, other more plebs have. Yes. Let me ask you this: when you graduated high school, did you know you were going to go into art?
I didn't graduate high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found creativity.
How did you get into fine art?
Well, one of the reasons I failed high school was because I was out painting graffiti.
There we go.
And then I found that was a real passion I had. Like it was one of those, like I'm always thinking about it. Always, it was just something I really felt drawn to do. And then, I found myself traveling a lot and then living overseas. And it was when I got the job working at Christie's auction house in London that I saw that. Like I never thought about art and money, and then I was laying out these catalogs and putting these like prices on these artworks, and looking at so many of them, going, "Gee, I could have done that." And then seeing like £70 million, it's like,
holy,
all this sort of stuff, and just going, Jesus, like there's money here. In art. And then it took me years to do it. I didn't quit my job and pursue art full time till I was 38. But yeah, I just really wanted it, you know. It's and I've never looked back.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I knew that it was always going to be some sort of visual communication of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always drew, always painted, always illustrated, and then just kind of moved into design, maybe just by accident, if I really think about it. It was just only because that the career path is designated.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit clearer of a trajectory from high school, whereas art, you got to pave your own way entirely.
That's what I was going with, because I sort of knew that I wanted to do some sort of acting. I didn't have the confidence that I did now. So, and Fons and I are very much good girls. So Fons similar. And
I listened to my mum and dad.
Listened to my mum and dad. So she did teaching because that was a, career. And I did a semester at Monash doing performing arts because that's something. And that's that thing. It's, if you're a creative, I find there's not much of a clear trajectory, and you really just got to throw yourself in the deep end.
Yes.
And it's a shame because I feel like so many people that could have been artists give up on it because especially in today, we value, business, money, that sort of accomplishment.
Yep.
And what a shame,
Yeah.
Yeah, but also you can't click your fingers and have it all work out for you. Very few people. Like if you look at anyone who's really successful and at the top of their game and you ask them how long you've been doing it, there's always decades of building, and then there's all these failures and rejections and all this sort of stuff where a lot of people just say, too hard and walk away.
Yes, yeah.
But those that continue through are the ones that eventually break through.
Yeah.
Because the whole overnight success thing, as we're finding, it's just a facade.
Yeah.
People work hard to get where they are.
But then I think if I want to be an accountant after high school, I'll do 3 years of uni, I can be an accountant.
Yeah, but if you want to own the company, though, you need to work for it.
I know. I just feel like there's much more of a safety net in those traditional careers compared to an artist where you really just the term starving artist comes from somewhere because.
But with acting, you can get into it anytime.
Yeah.
So it's not like that, like a lot of careers, they start off early and you kind of just stick it out and you progress and you work your way up.
Yeah.
Pecking order. But with acting, it's like there's roles for anybody.
I need more Botox before I get into it. Sorry.
But the interesting thing you mentioned about traditional careers, like say pursuing accounting or something like that, when you've got a job like that, there's always your salary cap and all that. So it's easy to budget, when you're going to get paid and all that, which is a luxury that I don't really have. But at the same time, there's no salary cap for an artist. So if you're not putting in much work, you might not make much money. But if you're really doing well at it and you're, very, I don't know, really just going for it, then you can make an infinite amount of money, really.
Yeah.
It's
the choices in general, could be you can take it to wherever.
Yeah.
Across the world.
Yeah.
In your case.
Yeah. So
Well, I was listening to your podcast, your collaboration on Bench Talk, the most recent one, and you were saying how you see how artists emulate their influences come through their art, like Ed Sheeran was Jackson Pollock. In podcasting, who are your influences?
Oh, as in podcasts?
Yeah. Who is there anyone that you model off or you look up to?
I find I grew up skateboarding a lot, and I still keep an eye on the industry, and I listen to skateboarding podcasts, and I notice that they take lots of cues from sports podcasts, and I don't listen to any sports podcasts at all, but I find that there's little segments and stuff that they've got that I've started bringing across into my own podcast, like rapid fire questions, things like that, and then even the way they intro people and stuff. So it's funny. I really like to look at different industries and think things like if I was just looking at art podcasts, I'd just be another art podcast doing all the same format as everyone else. But I find that it's the same when making a painting or doing anything creative. It's the best results come when you look outside of the industry.
Little world.
And it's it's the same with music and film and all that. And people that look outside their genre usually, and then bring it in. They're called revolutionary and all that type of stuff. But all they've done is they've reappropriated something that's never been done in that space before.
Yeah,
that's pretty much exactly what I'm doing with my podcast. Is I speak with creatives of all disciplines, but the thing is that it's relevant to everyone. The way I see it anyway. I don't know if I take influence from them or their format or how they do things as much as just knowing the standards that they've set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much the way they present or their mannerisms, but it's more like, okay, so you've done this for X number of years and you've taken it here, which means that it's open up the field for other players like myself and all of us here to be, if we want, we can take it to that space. So just kind of like walk the walk that they have.
Yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, exactly what Tom said. I think you just take the influences from anything else, other pockets of life, and how do you bring it back into your practice? So the stuff that I will talk about isn't always related to art. It's actually, I'd say most of it isn't related to art. It's just related to life stuff that you bring it back into the creative fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And we do that thing with the celebrities. There was another episode that we did on
the $18,000 invisible sculpture.
The invisible sculpture. So
I've heard of this. I don't know if it was from your podcast, but I've heard of this.
Yeah, no, it was like, so Tom found this article and he sent it across to me. And it's like, what do you think of this? And we did one episode on artworks that are kind of just in that same vein where they're more, it's called conceptual art, right? So like for example, the
banana.
The banana.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so we talked about that as well, and that was the whole thing, right? Like, and the whole point of the banana was to show that literally anything can be art, and it's not one banana. It's just the depiction of a banana and duct tape.
Yeah,
and, there's been thousands of them around the world, and so it's just like, what do we? And it comes back to that provenance. Like, what value do we give the concept of this thing? And it's just interesting. So once you start like thinking about it and exploring, like, this is just weird how we give value to this. And and then after we talked about that, went through that episode, we're like, actually, you know what? We're sold. We dig it.
Yeah.
Before that, we're like, this is weird.
Yeah. We always, every time we do an episode like that, we always go, oh, look at this crap or whatever.
Yeah.
And by the time we've talked about it enough, we get to the other side and we're like, I think I really like it.
There you go.
But is that from convincing yourselves?
No,
it's from diving into it. Like,
it's from peeling back the layers, really.
Yeah.
And it's not
the banana.
And really, it's looking at the artist's intent. And I'm starting to think a lot more conceptually about my artwork, because people ask you about it and they go, "What's that?" "Oh, it's a picture of a house," or whatever. And then, like, you can say that, but then it's like, once you go deeper and start talking about the concept behind it and like the meaning and all that, it actually is it's much more interesting to talk about, and people get it more, and they walk away going, all I saw was a picture of a house, but now I understand what I'm looking at, and they like it more, and it actually is easier to sell the artwork like that. So,
but this is the importance of opinions. Like you say, we don't know anything, we're plebs, but we also have an opinion that might be different and a different perspective that might be respected. So not the bloody cat with a frame. Come on, guys.
I'd like the cat.
I'll show you. I'll show you at home. It's like,
Every Mook should probably use the cat instead of like that face.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Just want to thank you both for joining us on this show and opening up our minds to the wonderful world of art. Thank you very much.
Thanks
pleasure.
for having us.
Thanks for bringing us out to Montsalvat as well.
Oh, yes. And thank you to Montsalvat for letting us film in a gallery today.
Yes, if you're ever around Eltham in Melbourne, come down to Montsalvat, and we'll see you Midlifers next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.